My name is Robert Leach and I'm the General Manager of Kargo for the Asia Pacific region. Our mission is to help save professional publishing with mobile advertising. We aim to do that. There are a number of pillars that we use to help with that mission, and the first one is what we call putting the art back into the ad tech, and that's really making sure that we deliver great creative, and that is the foundation of our business, is great creative advertising. The second of those pillars is defending the read against the feed, which means we put that great creative into the right editorial environments for advertisers. The third of the pillars is quantifying quality, and that's really all about making sure that everything we do is measurable and we're giving results to advertisers. And the fourth of those pillars is about empowering people and making sure that we are delivering a great service to our clients. It resonates really deeply actually with Kargo and with me. I think it's a great theme for the conference, and particularly for mobile advertising, because I think experience in mobile over impressions has largely been forgotten to some extent. And I think this is fairly typical in newer mediums. As they evolve, people tend to focus on what they can do with the medium and what they can do with the technology, instead of remembering what they want to do with advertising. So I think there's a bit of a back to basics here, and remembering that mobile advertising is just like any other advertising, and it is all about creating great experiences and not just delivering impressions or rushing to use the technology that is available. I think the experiences that exist for brands in 2018 and beyond are absolutely limitless, really. And the reason for that is I don't think the experiences have been very good on mobile to date. So there's a real opportunity to grow now. I think those experiences are all around creating great creative, using the power of the mobile screen and the audience that's flooding to the mobile screen, creating great creative, and to some extent going back to basics and remembering what advertising is all about, putting that great creative in the right environment in front of the right people. I also think we'll see a continued shift to more video on mobile devices, but I think as we learn and progress, I think we will see more video going into made for mobile ad units rather than just being poured into pre-roll, which work very well on desktop but perhaps not quite as well on mobile. Mobile should be all about made for mobile ads. I think there are loads of pitfalls to avoid in mobile, but four I'd like to highlight here. The first one is creative. I think in the past there's been a real problem in mobile with what we now call banner blindness or invisible ads. We now know that 7 out of 10 standard banners simply aren't seen by consumers on mobile devices because they're just so used to seeing that ad format there. So the first pitfall to avoid is a lack of creativity. Make sure we are creative in mobile advertising. The second pitfall I'd highlight today are the issue that's come up continually in 2017, which is all about your environment and knowing where your ads are running. And that there are a number of issues that covers. The first is obviously fraud, and we've heard a lot about fraud, fake news and bots and so on mobile devices. Make sure you know where your ads are running. They should run in with organisations and publishers like Kargo, who are 100% ads.text certified, who have double verify certification to make sure that it's human traffic, not bot traffic, and Kargo in particular has very high IIS and MOAT scores, so get those things combined and you know that you're not just in the right environment, but you are reaching the right and the human audience as well. And then part of that audience environment, particularly for brand advertising, is being aware of where your ads are running when we talk about apps versus editorial. There's nothing wrong with running advertising in-app, but it tends to perform better for performance campaigns rather than for editorial campaigns. And we see all the time. We had a really interesting case in America recently where one of our clients was advertising in-app quite a bit. We went in to see them, had a chat about it. They really looked at where their ads were running in-app, and 80% of them were going into a torch app. Now, clearly, you use torch apps in the dark, nobody is looking at that ad. Similarly, we've seen ads running in alarm clocks where you could argue the mood that you're in when the alarm clock goes off, even if you see the ad, you're probably not feeling a huge affinity towards it. The last part of that app versus editorial environment is we've seen so much money in recent years go into the duopoly of Google and Facebook for brand advertising. Now, Google and Facebook are great. Facebook for social and Google for search, but they are not the best environments for brand advertising. All the research suggests that editorial works best for brand. People spend more time seeing the ad and need less time to recall the ad in editorial versus search or social. I think the reason people use Google and Facebook is because they have the scale and they're very easy to work with, but there are plenty of other opportunities now. People like us, ourselves, Kargo, have the same scale as Google, the same reach in every country that we work in, but we only work in premium editorial where brand advertising works best. The third pitfall to avoid, I would say, is don't get bogged down in the technology. It's very easy to do this, to get absolutely obsessed with the shiny new thing that a mobile phone can do, but really remember the basics. Great creative in the right environment in front of the right audience. We all have a tendency to love the shiny new stuff, but just because you can find geo-target doesn't necessarily mean you should. Maybe you should, but however many times you target me walking past KFC, I'm never going to go in there and buy the product. Similarly, the fact that I bought my wife a set of golf clubs for her last birthday doesn't mean that I need retargeting for the next 6 months with ladies' golf wear. These are things that the technology enables, but you have to take a step back and remember the basics of advertising and do that first. A good example of this might be IAB metrics for successful mobile ad campaigns, which are set up for all the right reasons, and we must have metrics. Campaigns must be measurable, but things like video completion rate and viewability, they are important metrics, but they're not really what advertisers truly care about. Advertisers truly care about selling product. So if an ad is highly viewable, like an interstitial, but it really annoys the consumer, it will score really well on the IAB metric of viewability, but it won't necessarily sell any product. In fact, it may well have the opposite effect of putting people off the brand, and that's what we call perverse incentives. So those metrics are very important, and we have to have ways of measuring mobile campaign, but they are just a sanity check and a metric. They're not the end objective, and we have to think back to that end objective. So avoiding perverse incentives is important. It's great being a sponsor of MMS. We sponsored MMS in Auckland and Sydney last year, and it's great for a number of reasons. The team really look after you very well and really help you to get the most out of the sponsorship, which is very, very important. They get a great audience at the event, a really good turnout of the right sort of people. So it's great to mix with those people, to learn a lot from those people, and to understand what some of their issues and concerns are. And then finally, and very importantly, it's good fun. It's a really good fun event that's very well organised.